Alright guys, like I promised in the last video, today I'm gonna show you not one but 3 crypto portfolios that are amazing if things keep on playing out like they will, and you can make a lot more returns than you probably expect, because a lot of people have some bear market or bad bull market PTSD, and I completely get that, but let's not ignore the fact that low prices are opportunities. So, welcome to the FOMO Victory Factory. Like the video if you already liked the video, dislike it twice, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on. And I'm gonna show you, again, 3 portfolios. In case things play out like they have been doing so far. And this will give you more than a 2 or a 3x return in that case. But there are, different people with different risk appetites, different kind of portfolios, different amount of money in it. So I want to make sure that there's something for everybody right here. So let me know down below in the comments, like, you don't have to tell me about your portfolio, but I want to taste the average. Like, what's give or take the amount of money that you're playing with this cycle? So I can maybe make a even way more adjusted video in the next one. So for now, I'm gonna show you a safe and decent portfolio for people with around 2 to 5K in it. And that portfolio will, of course, not be that spectacular, because if you are not playing with like a lot of money, I feel like, man, you should not hold like too many coins, and you don't want to like lose that small amount of money. I feel like if you have more money in crypto, you are willing to take more risk, I think, at least. But it's always a good disclaimer to say that, hey, this portfolio has mostly high caps, right? The other portfolios have more coins and more lower caps and real moonshots. But try to find a good combination that fits you, right? If you feel like, I want to mostly be kind of safe, but I also want to take some risk here and there, put 10-20% into a lower or into a higher risk portfolio, right? Like, you can combine it like that. But with the Degen and Moonshot portfolio, like I said in the last video, if you go way down the list on CoinMarketCap, you see a lot of projects, and this includes projects with a 100 million up to like $10 million market cap, maybe. I'm not even mentioning the $1 million market cap. Like, if we are really into a full retarded shitcoin season up only risk on kind of environment, then okay, I'm willing to talk about that stuff. But 1, that's too risky. 2, you don't need that kind of stuff to make a buckload of returns. And if you don't know why I'm saying that, watch the last video. In my opinion, I think I try to give the best explanation for why the crypto market is very likely to give you way more returns than a lot of people expect. I got some good comments on it for once, so thank you guys. Like, hey, we do this together. I love you. Now, first off, I want to go back to one certain chart because I forgot something in the last video. And if you feel like, I'm not really bullish yet on low caps, okay, cool. Let me take that away, right? So we talked about this chart right here. This is the low caps versus the high caps, pretty much, right? Within the top 125. So this is just basically showing, like, hey, if this goes down, then money from coin rank 100, flows mostly into coin rank 3, whatever, right? And if this goes up, then it's mostly that the lower caps are outperforming. Now, what's pretty interesting is to overlay this chart on your actual coins, on actually the lower cap coins that are not even in the top 125, because also that's where the money flows, but that's not what TradingView tracks on this chart. And I was curious anyway. I was like, okay, yeah, money can flow to rank 80, like render, whatever, but what happens to rank 400, 500 coins? Well, that's kind of interesting actually, because I overlaid this chart right here on a couple of these coins, and It's nuts. Now, first off, I want you to take a look at this chart. And again, like I said in the last video, if you take this chart to an analyst and you would just ask like, hey, I said that about a different chart actually, but this is kind of the same but opposite. If you take this chart to an analyst and you don't tell him, her what it is, and you say like, hey, is this a chart to be bullish or bearish on? Look, I'm not an expert in that field, but I can see what this is, right? This is an oscillator. And what oscillators do? Oscillate. Right? So we have lows right here, we have highs right here, we have lows right here, we have highs right here, and we are now sitting at the lows. Right? Could it go a little lower? Sure. But in the big picture, there's a lot of upside. Right? And this just oscillates. It has nothing to do with the amount of money in the market. It has nothing to do with none of that. It's just like, hey, the money flows from there to there to there to there. That's just what happens, right? Nothing we really need for that as well. Has nothing to do with the Bitcoin dominance. It's just how money behaves within the altcoin space. Because you could say like, well, money is not flowing into altcoins. There's a lot of money into altcoins right now. Like we said, BNB over $1,000, right? XRP $3, Solana $200. Well, what if the money flows from there into the lower caps? That's where this chart goes up, right? So this chart is, in my opinion, likely to go up to the range highs somewhere in this cycle. And if you overlay this chart on some lower caps, then this is what you get. This is, for example, on DeFi, right? Real low cap right now. If you overlay it on Wilder World, if you overlay it on Joe, right? These are some real low caps, not in the top 125. You see this? Do you see what I see? I basically see two charts that are pretty much the same. So that, I don't know, it made me happy, right? Because again, if I look at this chart on its own, I'm not bearish on this. I'm looking at this like, you know, we are just like last time we were here, right? We had a huge rally. Time before that, we had a huge rally. Like, that's what an oscillator does, right? Now, if you, for some reason, of course, believe like, hey, it oscillates and it will break down because insert reason, fine. Is that if that reason is like so strong though, right? So strong and so full of conviction, then it probably was already lower, right? So keep that in mind though, right? If I overlay those, then I'm like, man, if you look again, for example, DeFi, it kind of is fully correlated with that chart, right? It's insane. Whenever low caps outperform high caps, DeFi as a micro cap does the same on steroids, right? And the same goes for wild, right? And it's never 100% perfect, but you know, overall, if you look at this, it's like, okay, yeah, it follows it pretty well, right? And if you look at a Joe, what else is a, well, Beam isn't really a lower cap, I think. No, not really. Also has less history, right? But as far as it has history, peak, down, peak, down, right? So this gives a little hope, right? Because if you look at these altcoins individually, you might be like, where is the range, right? Where is the bottom? Where is the top? But yeah, again, if it follows an oscillator, then we can just look at the oscillator, right? So anyway, this made me really confirming the bias that I have on why altcoins are likely to go up. And for the people that missed the last video, I'm not going to repeat it. That's not what we're here for, of course. But it is that there is a lot of money sitting in crypto right now. There's a lot, like there's $4 trillion in the crypto market. It's basically sitting at an all-time high. We only compared altcoins to altcoins, right? But there is still a lot of money in Bitcoin that can flow into altcoins. If you look at the Bitcoin dominance, like, yeah, it took a good hit, but is it compared to an alt season there where it needs to be? Not really yet, right? There is really a lot of money in this market. And like I said, especially in the high caps already. And that money flows to the low caps at a certain point. Yeah, and when that happens, then it's party on, right? Then it's very easy to pump a lower cap coin with a fucking 30x like it's nothing, because again, the money is already there. It just needs to flow. The money flow, again, is all we need. So let's dive into these portfolios, right? So the first portfolio, like I said, is a safe and decent portfolio. Now, if you are in, it depends what your goal is. It could also be that, like I said, like you have a low portfolio. Some people see it as like, hey, I have a low portfolio, so I need to make a lot of money, want to take a lot of risk, so I want to be in the moonshots. You know, that's open for interpretation. Of course, you could also see it like, hey, I don't have a lot of money, and I therefore want to start a little careful and not lose the little money that I have in my pathetic life, right? Otherwise, you have to do it all over again. Like, so whatever, right? But this is just a safe portfolio. And this has a few projects in it. And the first project in here is AVAX. And AVAX is currently sitting at around a $12 billion market cap. I think that if we have the potential return for the money flow only, it will be a 3x. And let me explain that. Potential return money flow only. What does that mean? Well, that kind of only means this chart, right? So no new money really flowing into the market, no crazy stuff, just high caps to the lower caps, right? Now, why is that return not that big? It's because AVAX is not really a lower cap, right? It's out of the top 10, but like it's rank 18 or so, right? So it's not gonna be as spectacular as rank 180 or whatever. So this is purely what I'm looking at. And I must say, that's a pretty bear case scenario, actually, because an oscillator just oscillating is not bullish, bearish. That's just really neutral, in my opinion. But keeping in mind that there is no money from outside of crypto going into crypto, or no money from Bitcoin into altcoins, no more money from ETH into alt, nothing. I think that's pretty bearish given the stage of the market where we are. So keep that in mind. But I'd rather set the targets a little too low than a little too high. And therefore, I think that AVAX could, you know, do a 3x. And potential return, including an alt season, it could be a 5x. Now, again, it could be a 10x as well, but I just want to be a little cautious in this video. I rather expect a 5x and see it do a 10x than expect a 10x and just see it do a 5x, right? Now, potential return, including alt season, for me means this. Right? Bitcoin, ETH, USDC, USDT, and DAI dominance. So the dominance of everything, basically excluding alts, going down, right? So that means that the money, wherever the fuck it's sitting right now, goes into alts. Because you could say whatever you want about alts, we haven't seen the rotation into alts at all, basically, right? From just like the range top, it went down a couple times with 5%, but like that's it. So I want to keep that in mind as well, because another good example of an oscillator doing oscillating stuff. So that's my potential return expectation for AVAX. Now, if you are in this game, for what's reason soever, and you feel like, okay, yeah, of course I want to make a 50x, but hey, with a 5x, I would settle. That would be nice, right? Then I would stick mostly to these kind of things, because the lower you go, like the Degen and Moonshot portfolio, there are like 10 coins in there, but there's a chance that 5 will die, right? And why would you take that risk if you don't need the return? That would not make sense, right? Next one is Cardano. $28 billion market cap. I think the potential with the money flows is 4x, and with an alt season, it's a 6x. Now, I'm not going to go over every single altcoin in depth that much, but like some of these coins are based on dominance, right? You can take a look at market cap instead of price, of course. I also did that because there are a lot of coins with inflation, and that's not really telling a fair story. But also when it comes to dominance, right? Because dominance gives you an idea of like what's actually realistic. We know how much money there is in the market. How much can Cardano take of that share, right? And if that's within this range, yeah, then you can say like, well, if Cardano goes to the top of the range again, which is diminishing, that's like a 5x from this point. And that would just be if it just ranges like that. Now, again, I want to take it a little more cautious. I don't want to go for the exact top, so put it at a 4x. But yeah, let's say that there's new money flowing into crypto, then of course it takes this amount of percentages, right? But of a higher market cap market, right? Which is now 4 trillion, could be 5, 6, 7 trillion, whatever, right? I mean, why not assuming that this will go up as it has been going up for the last 3 years, right? Like, what's the assumption that it won't? At the moment of recording, Bitcoin is, by the way, doing pretty well. It's like, hey, US government shutdown. Go, go, go. I don't know what the fuck, but okay, cool. But I think that Cardano has it could do around a 5, 6x. And that's decent for such a high cap, to be honest. And I'm not looking at it like, well, AVEX is lower cap, so it could do more, right? That's not really how it works, to be honest, actually. ADA is so much more mainstream, meme-ish, on people's history, etc., than an AVEX, that the narrative alone, yeah. Next, Doge. You'll notice, right? All these coins right here are the higher coins. They are not in the top 10, although I think Doge is, by the way. But it's in the multi-billions, 2-figure billions. And yeah, again, that's like, they could definitely go up hard. If you look at Cardano, again, last cycle, let's say it was 10 billion, right? We have a lot of coins of 10 billion on this list. Last cycle, 10 billion. Yeah, if you bought it for 10 billion right here, that's around here. These are the projects that we are now looking at this point. Look what it eventually did. All right, so it's not that there cannot be good returns on a coin that already is sitting here, because you don't know where it might go. Right? That's what we're doing the speculation for, of course. Doge, I think 2x. If it's just money flow, why 2x? Well, one, dominance, it's in the same kind of pattern, and the top of this range is about a 2x from here. Also, if we look at the market cap for Doge right now, look, price, market cap, okay, not a huge difference. $36 billion, right? The all-time high was twice from here. Right, so I don't want to put my cautious prediction above the all-time high, right? Like, that's, if that's cautious, then what's moonboyish, right? Like, so with Doge, I think 2x, but I also think that if we get the money flowing into altcoins, right, that it 4x. I don't think most of the money is going into Doge, but 4x, yeah, it's not weird, I think. And then we have Link. And I think that that could be around a 3x for the money flow, and including an alt season, it could be a 5x. Now, note inflation, right? With Chainlink, it's already somewhat less cautious, to be honest, because Chainlink, a lot of people don't talk about this, but it has some big ass inflation, to be honest. If you look at price, you could see that it's kind of far from its all-time high, right? More than 2x. But if you look at market cap, it is quite close, right? It's quite close to the all-time high already. So therefore, with Chainlink, it's more like, okay, yeah, 40%, and we are already in price discovery. So how you want to measure that? Right now, if you look at the dominance of Chainlink, I thought that this was pretty interesting. It's in this pattern as well, right? And I'm not like, yeah, what will happen, right? Like, will it eventually break to the upside or the downside? I don't know. And I especially don't know because Chainlink moves different. Right here in the last bull market, it just started a bull market on its own. In like, this is where the bear market started here, and yeah, Chainlink kind of just went up, right? But in August 2020, before the real parabolic bull market, Chainlink already felt like, fuck it, it's over. It started earlier, so it stopped earlier as well. And this cycle, it kind of within a range of a 3x, but it kind of went sideways. So Chainlink is a weird, unpredictable mover. So I don't know about this one. All I know that Chainlink is, yeah, I mean, if you want to ask someone, like, if you would ask me like, hey, what coin has most utility? Then it's Chainlink by far. It's not even discussable. And that means something. It's a very safe coin, in my opinion, as well. And I think that, yeah, people, they have come to the realization this cycle that the flight to safety is worth something for them. So Chainlink, I don't know. I think there are definitely some good returns. But this whole video, the disclaimer also goes like, it also depends on your entry, right? Because if you get into a Chainlink here, yeah, then I don't know. If you get into it here, yeah, then there's definitely a lot more return after that, right? I mean, top, bottom, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom, top. So yeah, why not wait for the bottom? Because it's not a guarantee, but that's the range for the last, 5 years. So might as well bet on that. Right? So I'm not saying buy it now, but you know, that's for a different video, when to buy what, etc., etc., etc. So this will be a decent list if you feel like, man, 5x, I'm good, right? I'm good. And I can mention coins like Sui or Hypercycle. I looked at it and I actually think that these are all better than these other coins. But that's my personal preference. You could definitely have a different opinion about that. And you might as well feel like, fuck Chainlink. I'm going to go with, that. But that's just my thought process. Second list, riskier. And returning. Now, for the other portfolios, I've prepared the coins, but not the returns, because I want to take you into my thought process. And I want to make this a lot easier from now on, because now we know a little bit like what it's based on. So we don't have to go through all of that, right? But it's mostly also about the coins, because the returns, we'll find out. Overall, in general, I think that this is a list with coins that can see a nice, decent 10x if these things play out, right? Some will maybe, 5x, be a little meh. But it could also be that there are a couple that will do a lot more than 10. But that will be probably the average. Now, the first project that I think is a good hold for that case is Tau. Tau, and let me tell you, all these coins are around $1 billion market cap, around, right? Give or take. And one good reason for that, again, is that, like I showed you with Cardano, how it in the last cycle was $1 billion market cap coin. And I remember clear as day back then, people said, I'm not gonna buy that. It's like so high cap already. I want to make 100x, right? So I'm gonna gamble. And they gambled and most lost. While eventually the boring coin did do that 100x. And I'm not saying that there is a good chance that coins in this list will also 100x, but I am therefore not ruling out that coins with around this market cap could definitely give you about a 10x if things just, go well. And with Tau, it is nothing really that different. Also, if you overlay that whole others divided by total 3 minus others chart on it, you can see what Tau did, right? In this small pump, right? It has less history. But in this small pump where that oscillator over here, right, went from 0.5 to 0.63, right? That was in the period of September 2024 till December 2024. So that was actually just this little bounce right here. Just was really a fat ass dead cat bounce, actually. That was the period where back then already quite high cap coin like a Tau went from $260 to $250, let's say, went to $750, right? So this coin 3x'd during a dead cat bounce, right? Where this chart from absolute peak bottom to top went up 35%. That was enough for Tau to 3x. The range, I'm not saying that it will, but the range is 130% at the moment. Right now, Tau at the moment, of course, is a little higher than what it was back then, but not even that much. Therefore, it is very easy to assume that coins like this, if this plays out again, then I almost want to say that that's conservative, actually, right? And but I don't want to make it seem like, oh, that will easy 10x, that will easy 10x. Everything has to align again in order for that to happen. But then again, everything has been aligning all the time, so it just has to keep aligning. But yeah, there's always a chance that it won't. But in that case, I think that Tau will do a 10x, give or take. And yeah, I mean, in this whole period of this dead cat bounce, we can also look at August 2024 till December 2024. We can also look at this chart right here. And this is the chart where it August 2024 here till December here, right? So this is also in the period where we saw that money was flowing into altcoins, right? So, the including alt season section is a little active right here as well, if I talk about the 10x, but not really, because, we did not go to the range low at all, right? So, we just got halfway, basically. So if we get there all the way this time, then Tau is probably in for a lot more. And so are all of these coins in this list, basically. So that goes for every one of them. Next one, Ondo. I think Ondo could do pretty well. It has been a strong coin. It has a good hype so far. It's stronger than most of them. And therefore, I think it definitely deserves a place in this list. Now, I'm going to speed this video up because we have a whole other portfolio to go as well. Again, Render should definitely be there. We have Pengu, and I made this portfolio not really based on, well, this has that market cap, this has that market. It's all kind of around the same market cap, but there are all different kind of narratives in this list. So let me just unlock it all at once. Fuck it. I have FAT, Sonic, as in Phantom, right? Injective, Arrow, and Beam. Beam is by far one of the lower caps in this list. I think that's around $500 million. And the rest is really around 1 billion. But I think that if you feel like, hey, I want to take some, decent risk in crypto, but I do that because I want around a 10x, maybe even more than that, right? Which is not that weird, I think. If these things play out, then this is a good portfolio that you can go with, right? It has, RWA, it has AI, it has memes, it has layer ones, it has DEXs, it has gaming, it has a little bit of everything, basically. Yeah, and I think you won't go wrong with this. And again, it could definitely be that a few of these coins, they just like underperform, something bad happens. That's always, at all times, the disclaimer that should not has to be said in the first place. But apart from that, most of these coins are already outperformers. And they respond very well to the charts that we've just showed, right? That if they go up, then these coins, they do fantastic as well. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, perfectly 10 coins in this portfolio. I think you cannot go wrong with this one, definitely not. Then for the Moonshot portfolio, look, I know that most people probably think that that's most interesting. But let me tell you, that's also the place where you get wrecked, right? It's also the place where you get more stress, more disappointments. And yeah, it is the place where you can get huge returns, but it's all still a matter of getting in at the right time, getting out at the right time, right? When I say that which one was it? A TAL, right? That could do a 10x or whatever. That's nice. But are you really, let's say it goes to 3K, right? Something like that. Are you exactly going to sell there? Or like if it rages from here to like $1,000, are you not already going to sell something? Right? Because what if it doesn't hit that 3K? Right? That's always the question, right? Like, what if it does this and then down again? Then you have nothing, right? So you do want to take profit. You do want to take profit. You do want to take profit. Maybe if it goes a little over it and on its way down, you want to DCA out as well, right? And then your average is somewhere here maybe, which is good, but you're not walking away with the actual 10x that it have made, right? So don't be like, okay, cool, I have now 5K, so I can get 50K with this. No. If you are smart, no. Right? And again, why do I say that? If you are smart, because if you are smart, you are not waiting for the absolute top, right? You DCA out. So you will have less than the 10x. You can definitely detract like 40% off of that at least, right? So keep that in mind. Now for the Degen and Moonshot portfolio, it's kind of all over the place, right? And I did the calculation for one coin already, my favorite, but for the others I didn't. And here we go. Cpool, ChainGPT, Altora, Joe, Desync, S-Fund, Wild, VRA, and CX. This is my portfolio as well. A lot of them, at least. And like, there are coins with $100 million market cap. There are coins with a $10 million market cap in this list. Now, let me tell you the mindset about this one. And what stands out to you maybe is that, yeah, with S-Fund, I said, hey, 20x potential return, money flow only, 30x potential return, including all season. Isn't that a little much? Look, I always said like, hey, DeFi in specific, it should go to around $6-7, right? And that's not like that crazy, because you have to realize that it already went to $5.50 back in April or March last year without alt season, right? This wasn't alt season. If you look at March 2024, that's this place right here. So yeah, altcoins took some money out of the rest of the market, but the alt season is again this, right? This is where we can say like this was our alt season. This is just like we had a nice period where altcoins were catching up a little bit. In the nice period where altcoins were catching up a little bit, S-Fund did a 11x, right? Well, yeah, 10x, give or take. But it did a 10x from 50 cents. Right now, in this specific case, CDFI was hacked. And I spoke about this in 2 videos ago, I think. And it sucks, of course, but for me, like, it's not concerning. I think they will recover from it. And the only thing that it shows us right now is that they're now sitting a lot lower, right? So we have a better entry. Like, hey, glass is half full, man. Like, could it die? Definitely. But if you are looking at low prices and be like, oh, scary, yeah, then you're not going to buy low. So then what do you have to sell high? And therefore I said, like, I think $6-7, give or take, could happen, right? It went to 5 here. So, you know, without alt season here and with alt season here, like, that's conservative as fuck, if you ask me, actually. Now, the thing with CDFI is, why don't I think it will go back to the all-time high is, again, because of inflation. They had less coins in circulation back then, and I don't think it's realistic to expect same price, which means way higher market cap. It could, definitely, but I'm not going to expect that. If I'm going to look at market cap, I'm like, yeah, you know, they were sitting at a $350 million market cap or something like that, right? They are now sitting at 17. So that's 20x from this point to just go back to the previous market cap. And that's it. Nothing extraordinary, nothing special, nothing outperforming, just going back there, right? And I think CDFI has a good chance of doing so. And therefore, I've said, like, hey, I think a 20x is possible. If we get that money flow combined with an alt season and everything is really crazy, then I think that it could do more than that. And then I aim for around a 30x, because especially launchpads are the ones that are cooking and gaining in an alt season. Right? It's because in alt season, people want to get into new coins as early and as cheap as possible. What do you need for that? A launchpad. And therefore, I think that should make up for a big difference. Now, other than that, I have Clearpool, for example. Clearpool is a pretty strong project as well. And yeah, I honestly think that this could do very well. And I would say, like, man, you know, this could fall into the 10x category, maybe. But then again, in a pure alt season, it's all about breaking resistances as well. So therefore, I'd rather put it in a list with coins about to 20, 30x, maybe even more, right? ChainGPT, I've put it here. I think it has less potential return than a CDFI, purely not because CDFI is better or ChainGPT is worse. I think it's all kind of the same, but it's like CDFI has a better entry. It's very simple. Whatever the reason is for that entry, it has a better entry. The market cap for ChainGPT is a lot higher. Products are pretty similar. But I think that with ChainGPT, if you look at market cap, they went to a $270 market cap. They are now sitting at 70. So if you purely look at that, you would say, like, that's just a couple X's. But ChainGPT has no bull market, no altcoin season history. This was just ChainGPT doing nice on its own while the market conditions were, you know, okay, right? In December, I know everybody looks back at December, be like, that was great. Compared to real altcoin runs, it was okay, but everything is set with that. So I think that this wasn't reflecting the value that it should have during a moment in the market where everything just goes nuts. And this is $1 billion market cap kind of project, to be honest. El Tora is a kind of project that I feel like, man, I don't know. Either you're gonna be very happy about me talking about this right now, or you're gonna hate me for it, because this is the type of project that just, this chart doesn't even show it correctly, man. But if you look at El Tora, this is like, so depending on when you get in, it's like it could completely wreck you so hard, but it could also make you so much money, right? If you bought it somewhere here, you wrote it down with 98%, like that's like buy money, right? But then again, if you bought it here and you wrote that pump up, you made a 21x on it, right? So it depends a lot. It's now in the middle of that, by the way. But overall, I do think that El Tora is the type of project that if the market, again, lines up like we've been talking about, that this is one that just gains so much traction purely based, not apart from the utility, etc. Just people look back at the chart and be like, look what this thing can do. Right? That's the narrative that El Tora has, I think. Joe, this is an easy one for me, actually. Because we spoke about AVAX already, and Joe is the leading DEX on the AVAX. And it has now Black Hole as a competitor, but that's more for liquidity providing, etc. And Joe is really an all-round kind of DEX. It's just a fun place to be. It's interactive. You can do a lot right there. Farm, stake. They have these trenches. It's cool. But also, if AVAX generates fees, then it goes into the Joe platform. And I think that with the low price that Joe has right now, that could be easy manipulated with the money that flows in by then. And yeah, if you look where it is right now, look, you have to see it like this, right? Here, it had no problem pumping from 60 cents to 130. Like, it wasn't 2 candles. It was like, bam, up like that. That's it. Bam. Yeah, how easy is it to pump 16 cents? Right? And I feel like, man, again, this is the type of coin, like, if things don't work out, yeah, then everything goes down. And Joe is like, bye-bye. But if everything does work out, then Joe is the type of coin that sits like 8x higher in 3 days. And therefore, it has to be in this list for me. Then we have Desync. I think that Desync is an interesting project. Do I have it in this list right here? Yeah, so Desync, look, if you look at the price right now, you could say like, yeah, it's not looking great, right? It's breaking support. It's breaking this support right now. And that's true. At the moment, it's not great. Look, I mean, in a couple months, you might look at this in hindsight and be like, that was a great entry, right? I mean, you don't want to catch a falling knife all the time, but it might be a good entry right now. But I just think that it has a strong community. I don't know really about their product. I think it's, I don't know yet. I don't think that this project needs product. Yeah, it needs product, but it's mostly the hype and the speculation, like with everything that boosts this, right? And then you get Alex talking about this, etc., etc. But this thing went to like 500 million pretty, easily, actually. And I honestly think that, with the $90 million that it is right now, I wouldn't be surprised to see this sitting at 2 billion or something like that. So yeah, no, I mean, that's in my list for sure. Wild, because look, I know that everybody is convinced by now that crypto gaming is dead. But I honestly don't believe in the fact that something is cheap, so it's dead, right? What I do think is that crypto gaming struggled because it's a luxury, right? And in this market so far, a lot of people are not really able to afford luxury, All right, let's make normal money first. So who cares about gaming, right? Fact is though that there are still billions of people gaming, right? And that will forever be the case. And that crypto gaming and that gaming and crypto go hand in hand, like meant to be so perfectly. It's like made for each other, really. The question is when, right? The question is when, because to be honest, with most crypto games, I feel like, oh, that looks good. That looks like a nice Web2 game from 2015, right? So in general, crypto gaming is just running behind a lot. But it's just because it takes so much time and money to create such a game. And when these projects fundraise, they created great games, right? And then they have a coin, and yeah, they spend all their money on making the game. And then how are they going to manage the coin, right? So therefore, I do feel like there are a lot of great games out there that are just really undervalued because the whole economic side of things, yeah, wasn't really, they didn't do it well. But that doesn't mean that it's that to me. That means that the product is way better than the price. And with Wild, let me remove all of this. This is more of a administration for myself. But with Wild, you can see like this thing, when it pumps, right? 18 cents to 120, 20 cents to $1, 10 cents, 60 cents, right? And it was not in a bull market. This is a bull market, right? Where it pumped from 8 cents to $8, right? 100x, bam, right? New speculative crypto gaming hot, I get it, right? But even when we have none of that, right? Not a risk on market. Crypto gaming is not hot at all. Everything sucks. This coin shows like, oh, if we are low enough, you have a 6x. So how the fuck are you telling me that it cannot do a 20x or anything when the market is hot again? So with Wild, I feel like, yeah, this is it. And mostly because Wild is one of the few games that doesn't look like crap in crypto. And you could say like, why don't look at, I don't know, Gunzilla or anything? Well, the reason I do think that Gunzilla was like, compared to Wild, overhyped as fuck. I know it looks good. There's a good reason that it's overhyped, but overhyped means that that's also priced in. Wild looks just as good in my opinion, but I have not seen anywhere near that hype, right? So you're also not paying for that hype, right? And yeah, with Gunzilla, I feel like, man, this thing has been kind of down only, and I honestly think it's pretty stagnant there for the last couple of months. So it might be good, but then you also have I don't think that this is correct. There's a lot of inflation. I'm running nodes, for example, are fully diluted 240, like crazy. And I know it takes a lot of time and it will, but I just don't like buying into that. So yeah, no, I like Wild, really, but it could be whatever you prefer, right? Then we have VRA. You might be like, 2021 wants his watch list back. But I honestly think one reason and one reason only why I like VRA is because the price chart looks fucking juicy, man. Where is it? So juicy that, here. This price chart, there we are. This to me is just simply like, I don't care what this is. This might go down, but I will regret not buying this, knowing that it's sitting here. If you look at this uptrend right here, which it started in 2019 already, tag, big boost. Like, the returns here were like insane. This was 26,000%. Came down, completely wrecked in this bear market, right? And it's now here, and tag happens to be exactly, you cannot make this up, right? I know some people don't believe in TA. Then explain this to me. Crazy. Plus, it is now also finding support where it was resistance in the last cycle from April 2019 until 2 years later. Yeah. Again, there's always a chance that it breaks down, and you can come back to me later and say like, "Ha, you were wrong," and it could be. Look, I'm not wrong about knowing that this is the best opportunity that you get on the price chart. I could be wrong about the fact that it goes up or not, right? I don't know, by the way, but I know that this price chart is telling me like, this is what you want to bet on, and I don't care if it is VRA, if it is whatever. If you give me a coin with this price chart, I'm gonna buy it instantly. I don't give shit what it is. So VRA is definitely in my portfolio. Not enough though. But fuck. So yeah, there that is. And then we have Chintai, CX Chintai. I don't know how to pronounce it. I can only pronounce it as Chintai. But this is also, I kind of like the product. I like the idea behind the product, at least. If it plays out, it could be big. It's some kind of a, how do you say it? Exchange for institutions kind of thing. But, you know, and I think that if that plays out left or right, that's huge. And I don't know if they are the ones that are going to pull that off, though, but we'll see. But also, if I look at the price chart right now, I'm like, again, also, good breakdown, definitely, always. But if you don't buy a coin at these kind of prices, then where? Like, here? Like, then what? Right? So, I'm like, yeah, this is worth a gamble for me, right? And again, this is not called the Degen and Moonshot for no reason. Like I said, a few coins on this list will probably not make it. And it could be that I'm looking at this and that this is eventually going to turn out to be one that doesn't make it. Fine, could be. But I'm also not going to look at a price chart like this and be like, yeah, no, I'm just going to ignore this. Then what am I waiting for? Then what am I going to buy? Like, I could do. So these are my lists. And, you know, you could say like you forgot about this one, or you didn't mention this one. Like, of course, there are so many great coins, but you don't need all of them. There are a lot of good coins that I don't have, right? And I don't need them. I don't want them. Like, I cannot buy everything, of course, but I don't think you need more. You can also choose to do a combination of these lists. Yeah, I want to low risk. I want a few medium risk, and I want a few high risk, right? Overall, I do think that with this kind of portfolio, you will nail it. Again, if things keep on ranging, that's kind of it. We just need the range to continue. So that's the video for today. Again, long one, but sorry, I'm not sorry. This is just like so important, this stage of the market right now. So thanks for watching, guys. If you want to like the video, it would help me a lot. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you are already subscribed, you can always make a second account and subscribe. Like the video also with your different account. Nah, like, I'm not gonna put you up to that. But I appreciate you for watching. Stick to your beliefs, stick to your horses, however you call that. And let's just see if it's all gonna play out. If not, then great. We tried, back to the Mac, whatever. But if it does play out, man, then everything that we have been waiting for, dreaming about, being laughed about it, turned out to, you know, pay off. And that's what we do it for. That's this whole thing. We have to go to the shit to get to the gold. Is that a saying? I don't know. You know what I mean. Thanks for watching. See you soon.